Does putting the CFA on your resume actually get you more job interviews? Or is that just something coaching institutes tell you so that you will enroll? I got tired of arguing about it, so I decided to actually test it. I built 2 resumes for the same imaginary candidate. Same degree, same experience, same skills, same everything, right down to the font. There was only one single difference between them. One resume had the CFA on it, the other one did not. Then I sent them out into the real world, applied to real finance jobs, and counted every single interview call that came back. No theories, no opinions, just 2 resumes and the cold, honest numbers. And I will be straight with you. The result was not the clean, happy story I expected. It turned out to be far more interesting than that. So let me show you exactly what happened. Now for a test like this to mean anything at all, it has to be genuinely fair. So let me walk you through exactly how I set it up. Both resumes belong to the same made-up person. The same degree from the same kind of college. The same years of experience. The same job titles. The same skills listed in the same order. If you place the 2 of them side by side, you would struggle to tell them apart. Except for one line. On the first resume, that person was a CFA charter holder. On the second resume, that line simply was not there. Then I gathered a big batch of real finance job openings. Analyst roles, associate roles, the kind of jobs a serious finance candidate would genuinely apply for. And for each opening, I sent in just one version of the resume, switching between the 2 as I went, so that across the whole experiment, both versions applied for the very same kinds of roles in equal numbers. After that, I did the hardest part of all. I waited. And I carefully counted every callback, every screening message, and every interview request that landed for each version. Same effort, same jobs. One difference. Here is what came back. Let us start with the simple headline. Out of every 50 applications I sent, the plain resume, the one with no CFA, got 8 interview calls back. The resume with the CFA on it got 14. Now sit with that for a second. That is almost double. Adding 3 letters to a piece of paper and changing absolutely nothing else nearly doubled the number of doors that opened. So on the surface, the coaching institutes are right. The CFA clearly helps. But here is the first uncomfortable truth, and nobody selling you a course will say it out loud. Even the CFA resume got rejected most of the time. 14 calls out of 50 still means 36 rejections. The charter did not turn this candidate into someone every employer was desperate to hire. It simply improved the odds. It was a powerful nudge, not a magic key. And then, when I broke the results down a little further, I found the part that genuinely changed how I think about this entire question. So I split all of those jobs into 2 separate groups of 25 each, and the difference between them was staggering. The first group was what I would call the core CFA roles: equity research, risk management, asset management, investment roles, where deep financial analysis is the actual job. And here, the gap was enormous. Out of 25 of these roles, the plain resume got just 3 callbacks. The CFA resume got 9. That is 3 times as many from the very same candidate with the very same experience. For these jobs, the charter was almost like a password just to get into the room. But the second group told a completely different story. These were the broader, more general finance roles. Wide finance operations, sales-focused positions, generalist jobs where deep analysis is not really the point. And here, out of 25 roles, both resumes got exactly 5 callbacks each. Not nearly the same, exactly the same. For these jobs, the CFA made no measurable difference at all. So the honest answer to the question, does the CFA get you hired, is not a simple yes or no. It depends entirely on which door you are knocking on. For some careers, it is close to essential. For others, it changes almost nothing. So why do the same 3 letters mean so much for one job and so little for another? Once I understood this, the whole thing finally made sense. A recruiter is not impressed by a qualification just for its own sake. They are scanning for proof that you can do the specific job sitting in front of them. And the CFA is a very loud, very trusted signal that you can handle deep investment analysis, valuation, and portfolio thinking. So when the job actually needs those exact skills, that signal is pure gold. It tells a busy recruiter in a single line that you are serious and that you have already proven you can do the hard work. But when the job does not really need those skills, that very same signal means almost nothing. You would not put a deep sea diving certificate at the top of your resume when you are applying to be a chef. It is impressive, but it is answering a question that nobody actually asked. The CFA is not a general badge that quietly says, "Hire me." It is a specific signal that says I can do this one particular kind of demanding financial work. And it only truly pays off when that is exactly what the employer is searching for. And this is exactly where I watch so many students make a painful and frankly expensive mistake. They hear that the CFA is valuable, which is completely true. So they assume it will help with absolutely any finance job at all, which is not true. They spend 3 hard years and a lot of money earning the charter, and then they apply for roles where it was never really going to make much of a difference. And when the interview calls do not come, they feel cheated. They quietly start to believe the qualification was useless. But the qualification was never the problem. The aim was the problem. They pointed a specialist tool at a job that simply did not need it. The students who truly win with the CFA are the ones who decide early and clearly that they want the kind of career the CFA is actually built for: research, risk, asset and portfolio management. They are not just hoping it opens every door. They are using it to blow open the one specific door they genuinely want. Now I need to add one more honest layer to all of this, because a resume test cannot capture everything. Getting the interview call is only ever the first step. The CFA was brilliant at getting this candidate through the door. But the moment you are actually in the room, the charter stops doing the work and you start doing it. The interview itself is won by how you genuinely think, how you talk about real companies, and whether you can apply the theory to a live problem in front of you. So the real winning formula is not the CFA on its own. It is the CFA to get you noticed, plus real practical skill to get you hired. The letters open the door. You still have to walk through it and prove that you belong there. And that is why simply collecting the qualification is never enough on its own. The students who treat the journey as a way to actually become good at finance, those are the ones for whom that 14 out of 50 finally turns into a real offer. So let me pull all of this together into something you can actually use today. If you want a career in investment research, in risk, in asset management, or anywhere that lives and breathes financial analysis, the CFA clearly moves the needle for those jobs, and the numbers prove it. It is one of the smartest bets you can make. But if you're chasing a broad, general finance role or a path where deep analysis is simply not the main event, then please go into it with clear eyes. The CFA might help you a little, but it is not going to be the single thing that transforms your chances. There may well be a faster, sharper tool for the job you actually want. Because in the end, that is the real lesson, hiding inside two nearly identical resumes. The CFA is not magic, and it is not useless. It is a precise and powerful tool. And like any tool, everything depends on whether you are using it for the right job. So if this video gave you a clearer and more honest picture of what the CFA really does for your resume, then I have done my job here. At QuintEdge, this is exactly the kind of thing we care about. Not just helping you pass the exams, but helping you aim the qualification at the right career, so that all of that effort actually turns into interview calls and real offers. Because as you just saw, direction matters every bit as much as the qualification itself. So tell me down in the comments, what kind of finance career are you actually aiming for? Name the role and I will tell you honestly how much the CFA is really likely to help you get it. And if you found this useful, then subscribe us, because in the next video, I went even deeper. I analyzed 500 real finance job openings to find out what employers are truly asking for, far beyond any single qualification. The patterns I found will completely change how you build your resume. You are not going to want to miss that one. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the very next one.